Good afternoon, and welcome once again to your live reading of the weekly news presented by the Korranberg Chronicle. If it happens in the Five Nations, you'll hear about it in the Korranberg Chronicle. I am your host, Rohan Connor de Civis, Aethercasting from the Southern Aether Station in Sharn to bring you the latest in the continental news. If you are listening to this news Aethercast live, House Civis thanks you for your subscription to our premier Aethercasting service. We are dedicated to providing information straight to you, from your local Civis archive to the Aetherwave radios in your local taverns. Never forget that House Civis is here for you. Before we get into our weekly reading of the news, we'd like to start by apologizing for taking a brief break in our coverage for the last 2 weeks. House Civis is dedicated to providing the best quality of service to you at all times, and that means tending to our services to make sure we don't fail you in that regard. Over the last 2 weeks, House Civis Aether stations across the continent were conducting yearly maintenance on the Aethernet to ensure that it remains stable and provides a strong connection all across the continent, from the volcanoes of the Demon Wastes to the waters of the Lazar Principalities. Hopefully you didn't miss me too much. And remember that the Korranberg Chronicle can be purchased at your local news vendor, every mole, weir, and far, if you're looking for expanded and near-daily news whenever you need it. And now, on to the news. Our first announcement comes straight from the former Imperial capital. The Thronehold Tribunal would like to remind you that the annual celebration of the Treaty of Thronehold is fast approaching next month on the 11th. A number of major cities from across the continent will be partaking in this year's festivities, but to ensure that you don't miss out on celebrations, make your way to your nation's local capital. All national capitals in the continent, with the exception of the Great Crag, have agreed to host representatives from Thronehold and guarantee a place to celebrate the end of the last war. Beginning this year, the Thronehold Tribunal has declared Treaty Day to be an official holiday, to be celebrated with a week-long celebration known as the Festival of Peace. Beginning on Aerith 9th and ending on the 13th, the Festival of Peace will not only commemorate the end of the last war and remarkable Treaty of Thronehold, but will serve as an interchange of cultures from around the continent, with stalls sponsored by the various nations. Sample the countless delicious food stalls of Thrain. Marvel at the magical wonders from Ondair. See the latest in industrial innovation from Brayland. Come watch the live military parades provided by Karnath. All are welcome at the Festival of Peace, and all are encouraged to attend. My goodness, doesn't that sound fun? I know I'll be making the trip out to Roat to check on the festival myself. It just sounds so delightful. As a Braylish citizen myself, I am most looking forward to those Thrainish pastas. Holy sovereigns, can those Thrains cook! Next is a public service announcement coming to you from our friends out in the Eldine Reaches. This is a short and friendly reminder that the Demon Wastes are still not settled lands, and travel to and from the Wastes is extremely dangerous and not protected by any official services of the Reaches themselves. The Wastes are not part of the Reaches' official territory, and the Wardens do not patrol the Demon Wastes. If you venture to the Wastes and are in danger, you do so of your own accord and without the protection of the Reaches. No one will be searching for you. Host, but that's a grim announcement, isn't it? I don't know what I'd be going to the Demon Wastes for myself, but I definitely listened to an official announcement from the Eldine Reaches if I ever heard one. Our last announcement comes to us from the Talenta Plains. According to officials in Gatherhold, we are expecting to have an especially large and bountiful final harvest for the year, courtesy of the Talenta tribes. One tribal leader reportedly stated, simply, "You're welcome." Well, Talenta folk may not be the most talkative Gallifreyans, but you cannot deny their expertise or importance to the rest of us. On behalf of the rest of Korranberg, this host would like to offer a sincere thanks to the Talenta tribes for their hard work and dedication to feeding the majority of this continent. And now, on to the major news stories of the past week. The Thronehold Tribunal reportedly continued their ongoing dispute over the now abandoned Chiron district of the city. For those unaware, Thronehold's lower city is split into multiple boroughs or districts that are dedicated to housing residents of the 5 nations as representatives who live outside the bounds of their homeland. The Kyre district of the Imperial City reportedly emptied out immediately after the mourning occurred for various reasons, though the most commonly cited reason was to join the rebuilding efforts of New Kyre in Brayland. The Kyre district has sat mostly abandoned for the last 4 years since the mourning occurred, and the ongoing political dispute over the land rights to the district have been ongoing as well since the signing of the Treaty of Thronehold. The Thronehold Tribunal, an official government organization overseeing international peace relations between the nations of Korranberg, has also assumed governmental responsibilities over the former imperial capital, since they were officially granted control over it by the Treaty of Thronehold, and are now in a rigid deadlock over the district's land rights. According to an inside source, the tribunal is currently split on whether the district should be repurposed to better serve the city of Thronehold, or be left in a state of indefinite abandonment in case the Chiron people ever return. While the city's populace seem keen on reclaiming the land for themselves and turning the Kyre district into a Thronehold-based district, the tribunal reportedly sees the proposition as an abuse of political power, and they seek a more equitable solution to the issue. In the meantime, however, the majority of tribunal meetings continue to be dominated by this pressing topic, and reports from around the city allege that some of Thronehold's more minor issues, like roadwork, law enforcement, and building regulations, are going unnoticed thanks to the tribunal's inability to move past this topic. The Korranberg Chronicle has included an editorial on the topic to speak on behalf of the citizens of Thronehold who appear to be suffering at the tribunal's indifference. If you are interested in reading this editorial, you are invited to stop at your local newsstand and read the full article for yourself. News is light on the ground of Onder this week as the Crown continues their silent and internal overhaul of the Knights Arcane. The Order of the Knights Arcane was a wartime organization initially put forward by Lord Darrow Irlaine to serve as the special military of the Crown proper. However, with the end of the war, the Knights Arcane and their many subdivisions have reportedly become listless wanderers without a military objective to guide them. In recent months, starting back in Oleron, the Crown made the subtle announcement to slowly demilitarize the Knights Arcane and shift their duties from wartime officers to notable officers of the law. This change is slow and ongoing, though reports from Ondarian citizens seem to be initially favorable. Crime rates are cited as dropping month over month, and the sight of Knights Arcane patrolling the streets of Onder cities seems to be bringing peace of mind to Ondarians. Sources close to the Ondarian throne report that the royal house is more than pleased with this development, and are considering expanding the role of the Knights Arcane once the shift is complete and the royal house has had time to further assess the Knights' performance. This host would like to add that it is so very heartening to hear that the rebuilding efforts across the continent are going smoothly after almost 100 years of war. It's nice to know that peace and order is slowly coming back. And now, a word from one of our sponsors. Do you struggle with low energy? Does your stamina seem to flag when you need it most? Do you find yourself needing to consume coffee, Arcano blend bubble teas, or one of House Galanda's specialty ultra dark brew energy refreshers just to get through your average workday? Then struggle no more, for the Circadian Pendant by Minor Miracles Incorporated is for you. This simple little charm hangs around your neck and channels the helpful energy of the sun to your weary body during the day, while reinforcing your mind with the power of at least one moon during the evening and at night. Absolutely no assembly or annoying attunement required. Some limitations may apply. This necklace's ability to capture and maintain planar energy is limited and should be used sparingly. Do not use a circadian pendant if you are undead, fiendish, or experience adverse reactions to planar energies flooding your magic circuits. Please speak to a local healer if you experience insomnia, depression, day-long nausea, or the irresistible urge to stare into the sun hoping to manifest a divine revelation from unknown celestial beings. Minor Miracles Incorporated is not responsible for loss of sleep, lowered productivity, or the awakening of additional eldritch consciousnesses in your brain due to cosmic energy exposure. Minor Miracles Incorporated does not accept refunds for customer satisfaction. Talk to your local arcanist for a circadian pendant today. And now, back to our broadcast. News from the Brailish Parliament continues to concern Brayland citizens due to political infighting over what to do with the surplus of military resources during peacetime. Reporters for the Korranberg Chronicle have noted that the Grand Royal Party continues to assert their dominance over the Nobles' Chamber and continue to push for military funding, especially at the nation's borders. The People's Majority Party, who continue their solid hold over the Commons' Chamber, continue to push for demilitarization across the nation, and to instead move funding from weapons contracts and military fortifications over to infrastructure and diplomatic efforts. Brayland remains economically competitive, Representative Alondra de Ocasia said on the Parliament floor, and we should rely on our economic prosperity to be our strength, not military might. These inflammatory statements reportedly caused a rowdy and untenable argument on the Parliament floor, which allegedly took an entire day to resolve. The Gilded Hand Party and the True Faith Party, who have been low in popularity with Braylish citizens since the end of the last war, refused to comment on the ongoing Parliament debacle, though an inside source alleges that the Gilded Hand may be ready to join hands with one of the major parties very soon in an attempt to end the stalemate. Sad news from across Karnath today, as the reports of a mysterious and unknown malady continue to spread across the nation. Attempts to identify the source of the plague have failed, though suspicion continues to fall on the Blood of Vol, who were publicly ousted and condemned by the Crown many years ago for their necromantic practices. The Blood of Vol continue to isolate and hide themselves from public view for fear of persecution by the legal system. While His Majesty King Caius III has attempted to extend overtures of peace and reconciliation to the Blood of Vol, these overtures are seemingly landing on deaf ears, as the Blood of Vol have not publicly returned any of these gestures. However, Reporters close to the Korranberg Chronicle have noted that the sickness does not seem to be directly related to necromantic practices, but rather a byproduct of keeping Karnath's undead armies within cities, which is slowly spreading disease. The Korranberg Chronicle reached out to both the Karnathi army and the Crown for comment, but were regrettably turned down. The Chronicle will continue to update you as this story develops. On behalf of us here at House Civis, we wish all those who have been afflicted by this sickness a speedy recovery. We also wish to remind all our listeners that your local House Yorasco clinic or hospital is available all hours of the day and night to provide you with the most advanced medical and magical healing currently available. If you or a loved one have recently become sick while in or passing through Karnath, please reach out to a House Yorasco healer for diagnosis and treatment as soon as possible. House Yorasco, that others may live. And now another word from one of our sponsors. Good wine can come from anywhere, but the best wine comes from Le Vaucré. Le Vaucré's specialty raisins en sorcelle are the foundation for all of their specialty spell wines, from their deepest reds to their sweetest dessert wines. No matter the occasion, Le Vaucré provides, straight from the vineyards of Ander to your own home table. Give the gift of a divine experience with Le Vaucré Vineyards' unique spell wines. You'll never want another wine. We made sure of that. Le Vaucré Vineyards, let us ensorcel you. And now, back to our broadcast. Very happy news coming out of Thrain. The Church of the Silver Flame began their outreach program this week, seeking to assist and rehouse the displaced survivors of the Morning. While many are happily living in New Caer or attempting to settle the Talenta Plains, Thrain has begun a new and exciting initiative to accept as many willing survivors into the nation as are willing to travel. While there are rumblings of discontent around Thrainish nobility regarding this decision, Jayla Duran, the current Keeper of the Flame, spoke publicly on the matter, addressing not only her congregation, but the nation as a whole. According to Jayla, the Church of the Silver Flame was always more than their military might, and she aims to restore the Church to its intended path as guardians of life and prosperity. The outreach program officially began this past year and is expected to last for at least 8 months, but is prepared to extend its duration to include dispossessed survivors who may need more time to accept the generous offer provided by Thrain. How lovely to hear that the survivors of the Morning are still being cared for. While I do not live close to New Caer myself, my heart breaks for all those affected by that terrible event. If you are a Chiron still searching for safety or a new home, consider the new Silver Flame Initiation Program. It is completely free and available to all former Caer citizens who are willing to become full citizens of Thrain. And now for a quick glance at some of the stories from around the continent. House Vidalis reports success with their new mage-bred chickens, who produce double the eggs with a less fatty yolk. These new chickens should be distributed in the coming weeks to farmers across the nations. Wow, breakfast just got better. Thanks, House Vidalis. Locals from Droam's neighboring nations reported a sudden drop in Dosk activity this week. The reason for the gang's lowered activity is allegedly boredom. According to a Dosk member interviewed by one of Korranberg's reporters, there's just nothing exciting worth raiding for right now. We might get back to it next week. Isn't that something? I guess even vicious bandits and lycanthropes get a little burned out sometimes, huh? This next story is close to home and was actually witnessed by yours truly. The new Last Chance Casino in Sharon Skyway was the target of a malicious heist this week, which took place during its grand opening. The owner of the casino, one Lucanus Duchance, was apparently robbed blind, with the thieves managing to slip past casino security and drain the entirety of the casino's vault with a clever application of recall charms. Braylon's Dark Lantern security force were initially poised to investigate the heist when news broke that Duchance lacked all the appropriate insurance and building codes, potentially making the casino an illegal venture. The Dark Lanterns are now investigating Duchance for a number of crimes and will publish their findings in the near future. As someone who was present and invited to the grand opening, I can confirm that the casino was absolutely breathtaking, but I myself failed to interact with the alleged casino thieves. What a missed opportunity. Luckily, though, all in attendance were returned home safely. Perhaps we can thank Oladra for that. The mercenary company, calling themselves the Shepherds of the Mist, continued to make headlines this week by delving in and out of the Mournland on questing jobs for Chiron survivors. Their leader still refuses to show his face in public, and when the group was approached for comment by Korranberg journalists, they apparently fled at top speed while yelling that they just wanted to do some side questing. Well, yours truly can think of much better ways to earn gold that doesn't involve delving into magically irradiated ruins with living spells and mutated monsters. But then, I failed my swordsmanship classes as a boy, so what do I know? Our final story today involves strange lights over Guevara. According to reports from both Lazar and Valinar citizens, a strange magical aurora blanketed Guevara's night sky for multiple days and disrupted magical communications with the frontier towns. When asked about it, the people of Guevara apparently did not notice or even see a nighttime aurora. This odd phenomenon is still being documented and discussed, but arcanist experts believe it may have been a temporary and unique manifest zone. Ooh, I don't know about you listeners, but that's the spookiest thing I've heard all week. And that's all for today's broadcast. If you enjoy hearing the weekly news, consider traveling to your local House Civis Aether station and becoming a subscriber. Subscribers get their own member benefits, like a personal speaking stone, and access to our archive of prior news Aethercasts. House Civis thanks you for your support, and the Korranberg Chronicle thanks you for tuning in. Have a lovely week, and may the light of Siberius watch over you. This is Rohan Connor de Civis, reporter for Korranberg Chronicle, signing off.